It's still predictions time, and I'm giving out my record predictions for every SEC team in college football. Hello, everyone. I'm Lucas Hill. This is South Carolina Live here with the voice of college football. Everybody, do us a favor, hit the like, share, and subscribe button. Make sure you share to all those friend groups that are out there. Tell them that South Carolina Live has just posted a new video. Make sure you share it to all your friends. Give us your takes in the comments down below with any video recommendations. Make sure that you do all of that. Also, make sure you turn on that bell notification every time we go live or post a new short or post a new video on South Carolina Live at the voice of college football. Make sure you follow us on the socials at Lucas_Hill23 and the voice of college football at THEVOCFB. Want to thank our good friends over at Amazon for sponsoring our video. Make sure you use the link in the description below. Get you automatically logged into your account. For more information, here's Mark.
You can make a difference here at the Voice of College Football. Use the Amazon link. Financially contribute to the Voice of College Football without spending a penny. Same shopping experience. It's easy. Go to any video on any channel. Go to the description section and grab the link right next to the capital letters that say Amazon. Use that link, and Amazon will instantaneously convert to your account, settings, history, everything intact, just like whatever link you use right now. No difference. Pay no attention to the product that you see right there. Just go search what you want. Don't forget the Amazon link. Thank you for your support. Sincerely, the voice of college football.
There we go. Down to your left, maybe your right. It's my right. There's my record predictions shown for every SEC team. It basically is going to show you basically who's going to be in the SEC championship. We'll discuss that at a later date. But here's who I have. Kentucky is in a rough situation. We've already mentioned it. We know about what's going to happen with Mark Stoops. Do I think that he gets fired? Yes. But is it going to happen this year? I don't really know. Is Kentucky willing to pay $30+ million to buy out his contract? That is going to be the ultimate question that this administration has to ask themselves. Is it going to be worth it? Yes or no? And that's whenever you're going to decide then. For Kentucky, it's going to start with that opening game against Toledo. I have you losing that game, in my honest, God-given opinion. I like Jason Candle. Jason Candle, to me, has been one of the best coaches in the G6 that doesn't get a lot of credit. Your entire coaching staff that was there back in 23 that had that amazing season when you had guys like DeQuan Finn, who absolutely popped off, won the MAC Player of the Year that same year, led them to what? It was an 11-1 start, was a top 25 team at some point, not to mention with Quinyon Mitchell as well. I do think that this is a Kentucky team that may end up losing that game. Now, we have seen what Zach Calzada has done during camp. Many people are saying that they're impressed. But you got to look at the on-field talent, man. That's something that I would really, really be concerned about if I am Kentucky. You drop that opening game, it's going to be a rough rest of the year for you. I don't think you win an SEC game. Your SEC schedule is pretty brutal. You go to Jordan-Hare. You have home games against Florida, Tennessee, Texas. You go to Willie B. You go to Sanford Stadium to play Georgia. You play Vanderbilt on the road, and then you play Louisville in the Governor's Cup. It's hard for me to say that they'll have a 5 or 6 win season. If you do, you're likely to start off the season 3-0 if you can beat Ole Miss for the second straight year in a row. If you do, You'd probably have to steal a victory against South Carolina, maybe knock out Tennessee, depending on how their offense performs, and then maybe either Vanderbilt or Louisville would be that 6th win for you. But apart from that, guys, I don't see Kentucky growing any further than where they are right now. Finishing off the season at 3-9, Mississippi State is in another rough situation. This is another tough schedule for Mississippi State. You play 4 teams from last year that were college football playoff players from last year. You play Georgia, Texas, Tennessee, and Arizona State. It's not an easy schedule by any means necessary. Not to mention the fact that you play a Southern Miss team with a first-year head coach and one that I've talked to, a Sun Belt insider, who has arguably one of the best coaching staffs and had one of the best portal seasons in the G6, with Charles Huff leaving Marshall to go to Southern Miss. Most of what Marshall's players followed Coach Huff to go to Southern Miss. Blake Anderson returns to Hattiesburg. Not to mention with Jason Seymour. There's a lot of guys that you were able to get to come to this program. You have a lot of guys that were able to go to Southern Miss. Did I mention that it's going to be in Hattiesburg as well? What a statement this would be for a Southern Miss program that last year was 1-11, that is going to be in a pretty peculiar position with a first-year head coach. If they can come out and get a huge victory, guys, that's definitely going to put someone like Jeff Lebby on the hot seat. Do I think it is going to happen? No. Do I think that Southern Miss, however, is going to cover? Yes, I do think that is going to be the case. That's why I don't see a team like Mississippi State winning more than 3 games. Southern Miss is going to be the win. Alcorn and then Northern Illinois is your only 3 wins of the season. You're going to go winless in SEC play. I think you're going to continue your 18-game. No, I'm sorry. You have a 22-game SEC losing streak that you may continue going in after the 2025 season. It's going to be a rough year for Mississippi State at the end of the day. For Arkansas, it's the same thing. Arkansas is in another interesting position because you lost a lot of guys to the NFL draft. You lost a lot of guys to the portal as well. You lost Jaquindon Jackson, who's now in the NFL with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Taylon Green is back for another year. That's a great thing that you were able to get. Andrew Armstrong's gone. I'm surprised he went undrafted this past season, but he's now with the Miami Dolphins. But you did go out into this portal season and got a couple dudes that you could rely upon and continue to develop at the next level. You got Kavion Broussard, who could be a pretty solid left tackle from New Iberia. At the receiver position, you brought in Jalen Brown from Florida State. He's a former LSU receiver. Ismail Sissy, who's got a good bit of speed on him. Courtney Crutchfield, who didn't play much at Missouri. This is the one guy, however, I thought that was going to be going to make a big impact at the end of the day, and that's Cam Shanks, who was a first-team All-American as a punt returner and a absolute dog at the slot. He has blazing speed. Kid can get out into the secondary in a heartbeat, and he can really do some damage that many people should be excited to see. I think Xavier Sori as well could be the underrated leader that Arkansas needs to go along with him and Caleb Wooden at the nickel. I think apart from that, guys, I look at the schedule. It's very difficult because you go to Ole Miss, you got Notre Dame at DW Reynolds, you play Ryan Silverfield in Memphis, who's going to return a lot of their starters from last year, who's coming off of what, 1, 2, 3 seasons with 10 wins? No, 2 seasons with 10-win seasons. Ryan Silverfield, who's one of the most electric play callers in the G6. Arkansas is going to have another rough stretch, dude, because from Notre Dame on, it's a brutal schedule. You go to Tennessee, Texas A&M comes to DW Reynolds, at LSU, at Texas, and then you have the battle line rivalry with Missouri. I say 4-8. You're beating Alabama A&M and Arkansas State. I don't know if you beat Memphis, to be honest with you. You'll probably get a win against Auburn and Mississippi State. Missouri's a toss-up that could end up flipping your record from 4-8 to 5-7. But apart from that, guys, Sam Pittman's got, I think, a $12 million buyout this year. Some people have them pretty low when it comes to his buyout overall. So with a 500 or better record right now, he has a 75% payout. Now, and that's for the rest of what his contract is owed of him. But right now he's 30-31 at the collegiate level, but he has a perfect bowl record. So let's say that Arkansas finishes the year, you have another losing record, but you manage to get another bowl win. Or let's say Sam Pittman gets another bowl win. He'd be owed no less than $12.1 million. Which is a significant pay reduction than what you would have had if you had fired him last year, close to $20 million. So you can afford it now. But now who's going to be your guy after that? That's going to be the question that I think a lot of people are going to have to ask themselves when it comes to a team like Arkansas. Vandy, I have going 5-7. Last year was a great season. This year, I don't know really with what to expect from Vandy this year. It's another schedule where I think there's going to be a lot of people that has a target on Vandy's back. They saw what they did last year and they were like, wow. They were shocked at what happened. They win They win a bowl game last year and they beat Bama. Now you go into 25 and there's a target on Diego Pavia's back and people are expecting big things from them. Some people are trying to repeat the success from last year. I say no. At Virginia Tech at Lane Stadium, I don't think you win a night game there. I don't think you win a night game against South Carolina. You'll beat Georgia State and Utah State to get yourself back to 3-2. Alabama, no. LSU, no. Missouri, yes, you'll be 4-5 by then. At Texas, you'll be 4-6. Auburn, 5-6. Kentucky, I'll tell you this. I'll say this about Kentucky. You win there, and if you beat Auburn, which it wouldn't surprise me if they did. Would not surprise me if they did. I do think that they do end up either 5-7. I'll say that they'll lose to Missouri. But again, that's a toss-up to me. Auburn could also be a toss-up. So 5-7 is the likelihood that I think they'll finish, but don't be surprised if they end up going 6-6 again and make another bowl game. Oklahoma I have going 6-6. This is a very, very difficult schedule that Oklahoma is about to go up against. I think it's the fourth hardest schedule in college football. When you play Michigan at home, you go to Temple, Auburn, Kent State, and then SEC play is brutal. You play Texas in the Cotton Bowl, at South Carolina, Ole Miss, at Tennessee, at Bama, Missouri, and LSU. To me, you'll finish with 6 wins. I think you'll beat Illinois State. You'll beat Temple. You'll beat Auburn. You'll beat Kent State. I think you'll beat Michigan. You'll start 5-0. You'll lose to Texas. You'll lose to South Carolina. You'll lose to, I think you'll beat Ole Miss. You'll lose to Tennessee and Alabama. You'll lose to Missouri. You'll lose to LSU. Reasonable? Going to be a tough one for Brent Venables, but we'll see what type of impact that Ben Arbuckle and John Mateer have on the Sooners. Texas A&M I have going 7-5. A&M's in a pretty peculiar position as well. They're still trying to get the stench of the Jimbo Fisher era out of College Station. Do I think they do it this year? No. I think it takes another year and another portal class, and I think another quarterback. We'll see what Marcel Reed has to offer. Missouri I have going 7-5. Another drastic turn from where they were 2 years ago. Eli Drinkwitz, to me, had the success of 23 go to his head. And that's when we really started to see the flaws. In my opinion, last year, Missouri was the worst 10-win team in college football. You got blown out by Bama. You got blown out by Texas A&M. And there was a game against South Carolina that you could have won, but you just weren't effective and you weren't consistent on offense. It didn't help that Luther Burden was hurt. It didn't help that most of your offensive line couldn't protect your backside, couldn't protect Brady Cook's backside. So the fact of the matter is that Missouri has a lot of work to do from now on. We have set the ceiling for where they can be, but we're also setting the floor for what's to come for Missouri. Auburn, I have going 7-5. I'll see if Hugh Freeze, they can afford Hugh Freeze's contract. I think they're the most overrated team in college football. Recruiting-wise, I don't want to hear about, oh, it's just Hugh Freeze playing golf. I know he plays golf, but the problem is that you have a team that is so inconsistent with development that you have one in-state commit. I'm not saying that they're not recruiting. The problem is that you're not winning games. You're not winning when it matters most. You're not a consistent program. That's been the problem with Auburn since they fired Gus Malzahn. They have not been consistent, and they won't be consistent anytime soon. South Carolina, I have going 8-4. We've already discussed this. Keep your expectations low. You'll exceed expectations. It would be a rough way for Lenore Sellers to end his time in Columbia, but I think it's a reasonable record that I think they can easily achieve. Tennessee, I have going 8-4. Again, we're setting the ceiling and floor for Tennessee, and I think this is so far the floor. Ole Miss, I have going 8-4 as well. I think it's a step backwards for Ole Miss, but I do think that it is a record that is considered a win for them, knowing what you got in the portal, but also with what you lost in the NFL draft. The fact that you lost that much, but you were able to develop your program and still be an 8-4 style team, that's really, really impressive. Florida, I have going 9-3. That's going to be a shocker that people might see. I do see them winning 9 games. I do see them playing spoiler to a couple of games. I see a couple games that they have on their schedule being trap games for the teams that they play. Texas is one of them. Georgia is another one of them. LSU I have going 10-2. I like the talent that you got from the portal. The question is, can you develop at a high level? There's been a lot of offseason hype about LSU. I believe it. Trust me, I do. I just want to see it on the field as well. Georgia I have going 10-2. It was hard for this one because I could easily say that this is a Georgia team that's not going to produce at a high level, that they're going to take a step back this year. They're going to miss the college football playoff, but I can't sleep on Kirby Smart and company. No matter how questionable their quarterback play can be, I just can't. Texas I have going 10-2. I think they lose to Georgia. They lose 1 of 2 games. They lose to Ohio State. They lose to Florida or Georgia. So I have them either 10-2. Hell, they could be 9-3. Or they could be 11-1. Or they could run the table and be 12-0. I don't think that'll happen, but I'm thinking realistically. Alabama I have going 11-1. People are going to look at Alabama and they're going to be like, what the hell are you talking about? Why do you have Alabama and their expectations so high? Guys, I think Alabama has one of the best rosters with a young quarterback around them. And we've talked about this a lot. We've talked about the type of guys that you've been able to get at the next level. We've talked about what you got in the portal. Cam Calhoun is who is going to be a dog on the outside. Isaiah Horton, who's going to provide some depth at receiver. You brought in a guy like Nikhil Hill-Green that can provide that edge, that leadership presence in the linebacking room, along with Deontay Lawson. When you look overall at this offensive line, it's one of the best offensive lines in college football with 3 top 50 guys, with guys that I think can really, really make an impact for any NFL team, with Parker Brailsford, Caden Proctor, and Jaden Roberts. And in the receiving room, we already mentioned Isaiah Horton, but you also have Jeremy Bernard, Ryan Williams, and Jalen Mbakwe, who are going to provide you with so much athleticism that it's going to be ridiculous with how incredible that this, not really necessarily a trio, but how about 4 potential NFL guys on that roster at the receiver position? That's why I think Bama is so deep. Bama has a long, impressive season that they're going to have at the end of the day. Phil Steele has 6 of them on their first team all offense, with Deontay Lawson, Jaden Roberts, Caden Proctor, Parker Brailsford, Ryan Williams, and Tim Keenan all on first team. Your lone loss will be to either South Carolina, LSU, or Georgia. That's my 3 projected potential losses. But we'll get into their ceiling and floor later on in the season. We're going to be releasing our predictions and expectations for each SEC team pretty soon. I am excited to get started on that. Guys, we're going to be in for a wild 25 season in the SEC. This is going to be a make or break as well for the SEC. If you are unable to exceed expectations to where you were last year, after all the crap that you talked about how you deserve to be in the playoff and then lay a goose egg during bowl season, where you had a losing record in bowl season, you're going to be the butt of the joke in college football for another year. But can you dominate in football? You did it in basketball and baseball. Can you finish 25 off with a bang? Guys, that's going to wrap it up here for us here on South Carolina Live with the Boys of College Football. For all the latest on all things South Carolina and everything else around the SEC, give us a like, give us a share. Make sure you give us a subscribe button. Hit that bell notification so that you are notified every time we go live, post a new video, or release a new short here on South Carolina Live. Thank you to our friends at Amazon for sponsoring us. Make sure you hit that follow button on the X at Lucas_Hill23, at THEVOCFB. And until next time, ladies and gentlemen, stay blessed.